The primary sector of the economy includes all the activities that are in charge of extracting raw materials and making direct use of the natural resources in order to transform them into non-elaborated primary products. Agriculture is the economic activity in charge of cultivating soil and growing crops to sustain human life. It includes the preparation of plant products for people to use and their distribution to markets. The development of agriculture has produced the greatest changes of the humanity, and it has led the rise of sedentary human civilizations. There are two types of agriculture. Traditional agriculture, whose main aim is producing food, uses traditional production methods in which there aren't machines but human workforce. It can be subsistence traditional agriculture, produces just enough to survive and is nomadic, or it can be self-consumption traditional economy, produces a small food surplus and is sedentary. Modern agriculture, whose main aim is producing food to trade with it, uses high technological and mechanized machinery. It can be commercial, produces food for national and international trade, uses chemical products, specialized machines and industrial production techniques, or it can be ecological, produces food to be consumed and to trade with it without any chemical.
Agriculture can be classified according to its dependence on water. It can be dry farming, crops just need the water from the rain and the soil to grow, or it can be irrigated. Crops need extra water apart from the one they receive from the rain and the soil to grow. It can be classified according to the use of arable land. Extensive farming. It cultivates monoculture crops in large fields with modern machinery and a small workforce. Or it can be intensive farming. It uses small fields that require a great investment and a huge workforce, giving place to a high productivity associated with unwelcome side effects. It can be classified according to the shape of the land. It can be open field, large plots of land that haven't got any limits and are usually located in plains, or it can be bocage, smaller plots of land with limits between them, like fences or trees, located in hilly areas with abundant vegetation.
Forest exploitation is the extraction of resources from a body surface. This activity is mainly used for obtaining raw materials like wood, fruit, or cork. It is important to understand that forest exploitation isn't a bad or prejudicial activity. Which is really bad and dangerous is the way it is implemented. I mean, if it is done in an uncontrolled and disorganized way, and without taking into account the preservation of resources, it will have very bad consequences for the environment. Several times, forest exploitation means tree felling and the burning of huge surfaces. This supposes the destruction of the forest and it generates a phenomenon known as deforestation. For this reason, it is very important to have a plan of deforestation before felling the trees of a forest, otherwise the ecosystem will suffer a lot and there will be a very big loss of biodiversity. Furthermore, forest exploitation has bad consequences for the carbon dioxide absorption and it produces ground erosion. To sum up, forest exploitation is a fundamental part of the primary sector and very beneficial for all of us, but it has to be always well controlled and organized so we manage to make it sustainable.
Livestock refers to the breeding of animals to produce meat, milk, wool, and leather, or to be used as labor. The different types of farming are pig farming, 37%, sheep farming, 12%, goat farming, 1%, cattle farming, 35%, poultry farming, 10%, other 5%. There are two different livestock methods. Traditional livestock ranges from family livestock, small in number, to the large herds used for extensive grazing or transhuman farming, relocation, herds from one location to the next in search of new pasture land. Modern livestock. Modern livestock is characterized by high production, the selection of appropriate breeds, and an industrialized production system.
Fishing can leverage the resources of seas, rivers, or lakes, including fish and other resources like algae, minerals, etc. The main destination of catches, 75%, is intended for human consumption. To do its job, fishermen use a series of instruments or arts, bait, traps, etc., with specific techniques like drag, drift, Three types of fishing are distinguished mainly. Coastal fishing is practiced near the coast in small boats and through traditional methods. Catches are usually set aside for shell consumption and to a lesser extent the local market. The coastal fishing is an important food resource in underdeveloped countries. Inshore fishing is done near the coast with fishing gear designed to basic species to capture predators in cold or with ice chambers. This day fishing does not exceed their duration. Deep sea fishing is done offshore in large tonnage ships with detection equipment shoals. There are untested factory ships, fishing campaigns prepared for several weeks or even months. At sea, the spaces are constructed in certain areas suitable for fishing grounds. However, fishermen cannot fish wherever they want. International law allows coastal states the right to exclusive use of the area extending from its shore up to 317 km sea inside exclusive economic zone. Therefore, fisheries agreements are necessary to be reserved. The increase in catches have led to the depletion of some fish stocks and the loss of species. Therefore, it has become necessary to develop aquaculture or captive breeding or uncontrolled environment. Currently, more than 30% of fisheries production is obtained from aquaculture, which includes species from fish farms. Fishing in Spain. Species caught. Fish like sardines, hake, tunas, mollusks, octopus, mussels, crustaceans like prawns, spider, crab. Main fish exports: Galicia, Vigo, La Coruña. Canary Islands, Tenerife, Santa Cruz, Arrecife. Andalucía, Huelva, Cádiz, Almería, Isla Cristina. Based country: Pascua, Bermeo, Andorra. Catalonia, Tarragona, Roses.
Minery consists of extracting ore or materials from the ground. People has been mining since 32,000 before Christ. There are two main types of mining. Surface mining. It consists of extracting the materials of the surface, and underground mining that consists of extracting the materials of the underground by using tunnels. The machinery that is mostly used for extracting materials are dampers and excavators. They also use TNT and other types of explosives. Their principal materials in Spain are copper, gold, nickel, lead, spark, zinc, and silver.
Aquaculture, also known as fish or shellfish farming, refers to the breeding, rearing, and harvesting of plants and animals in all types of water environments, including ponds, river lakes, and the ocean. Researchers and aquaculture producers cultivate several types of freshwater and marine species of fish, shellfish, and plants. Aquaculture produces food fish, sport fish, bait fish, ornamental fish, crustaceans, mollusks, algae, sea vegetables, and fish eggs like the caviar. Aquaculture includes the production of seafood. There are two types. Marine aquaculture refers to the culturing of species that live in the ocean. It mainly produces oysters, clams, mussels, shrimp, and salmon, as well as lesser amounts of cod, yellowtail, barramundi, and sea bream, from hatchery fish and shellfish, which are grown to market size in ponds, tanks, cages, or raceways. Stock restoration is a form of aquaculture in which hatchery fish and shellfish are released into the wild to revive wild population of coastal habitats, such as oyster reefs. Aquaculture also includes the production of ornamental fish for the aquarium trade and growing plant species uses in a range of food, fermented nutritional and biotechnology products. Marine aquaculture can take place in the ocean, encaged on the seafloor or suspended in the water column, or in the land, in artificial systems such as ponds or tanks. Recirculating aquaculture systems that reduce, reuse, and recycle water and waste can support some marine species. Freshwater aquaculture produces species that are native to rivers, lakes, and streams. It is dominated by catfish, but also produces trout, tilapia, and bass. Freshwater agriculture takes place primarily in ponds and in the land, also in artificial systems.
This sector is usually most important in less developed countries, like the ones of Africa, and less important in industrial countries, like the ones of Europe. The primary sector is divided into 5 main groups: agriculture, forest exploitation, livestock raising, fishing, aquaculture, and mining.